you ready to discover who you came here to be? Welcome to the Human Design and Astro Club podcast. Human Design is a system and a tool that is here to empower you and show you your greatest potential. Come learn with us and discover who you really are. Hi there, Crystal here. I want to share with you a few potential opportunities before we dive into this week's episode. Leah and I have made it our mission to not only bring you energy updates, interesting guests, and education on here, but we also have a few different ways to connect and work with us outside of the podcast. Now, the first opportunity is completely free, and if you have been struggling with understanding your strategy and authority, I highly recommend picking up our free guide on tips and tricks to honoring your strategy and authority. And you can get that in our show notes down below to better help you align to your unique guidance system. Next, if you have been struggling with the key terms in human design, if you don't understand how to read your body graph, Lee and I have come up with graphics and images that provide easy ways to understand the key terms so you can begin to unravel your true self. And that's exactly what this manual is called, your user manual to your true self, to help you speak the language of human design in no time. Our next offer is great if you've been loving our program energy updates because we put together a 2022 yearly forecast through the lens of human design, astrology, and tarot. Super helpful to have a look back on this year and also what's to come and how we can be supported by the energy of what's ahead. Now, our last offer has a few different options, so listen up. We've been telling you for a long time that we were building a subscription service on the 4 transformations, and the wait is over. The doorway is now open to your true self, and you can get for 6 full months every single one of our variables classes. So all of the colors for determination, every single tone for cognition, and all of the colors for environment, view, and motivation. All of these classes were put together with source material from Ra Uruhu, as well as lived experience from people who actually have these aspects in their design. And for a very low price of $39.99 a month, that is well over the value of $600. If you've bought all of our bundles, it would be well over that price. And you also get a bonus that is our support group with this subscription service. So you not only get the classes, but you also get a community of people to help you along the way through your deconditioning process that include a community page to post and 2 group Zoom calls a month. If you're just looking for support, you can also get that outside of the doorway, just the support for only $19.99 a month. And if you want one of our classes on the variables, and you're not ready to enter the doorway or our support group, you can pick up your a la carte class on determination, cognition, or environments down below. View and motivation are an exclusive only for the doorway. Now, if you're looking for one-on-one attention and would like to dive into your human design chart, feel free to connect with me on either Instagram or book a reading on my website, which you can find down below in the show notes. Or if you would like a tarot reading from Leah, you can also connect with her on Instagram and also her website down below. We are so excited for everyone to discover their uniqueness, their differentiation, and everything I have mentioned you can find again in the show notes down below. We hope you enjoy this next episode. Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to the Human Design and Astro Club podcast. I'm Crystal.
I'm Leah.
And we had that intro way better than any other intro we've ever had on here. This is probably the first.
I think we're getting it.
We're not getting it, but
come on. That was better than the first time.
1-3, the pessimist. The 1-3 profile, by the way, guys. More pessimistic out of all. We just know real life. And I know that because I'm a third line, we're probably going to mess it up next time.
But it
And
was
that's okay.
better. It was better than the very first time. It only took us one try rather than several tries and then giving up. Like the first time we
Yeah,
tried
I
to.
would have kept going. You gave up. I would have kept going till the end. The whole episode would have been just us introducing. So if
Trying.
you're new here, welcome. This is our full moon episode. So if you're coming on during the full moon or you found us because of the full moon, thanks for finding us. Nice to meet you. We know that we tend to get, you know, a lot of people searching for stuff during full moon. So I wrote a lot. I just want to preface, Leah, get prepared. I wrote a lot based off this full moon. This is happening in both Leah and my South Node in Scorpio. We both have South Node Scorpio. So it's going to be an interesting ride. It's already been an interesting ride. I am not
Yeah.
very happy right now. I want to be completely honest with you guys. I'm trying to just be in what it is, but not let it consume me, if that makes any sense. You might have heard on the last episode that I was going to have my anniversary for my near death experience, which happened on Tuesday. And it was a little rocky because I feel like I was meeting this old version of myself in a new light. And it's like allowing almost like the completion of that whole period to come to an end. And I think it's going to be illuminated through this full moon also, because it's like we're recording this early, guys, so you're gonna get catch this during the full moon, but we're recording this early, so we have no idea what we're preparing for. I mean, I'll prepare you guys, but at the end of the day, we really don't know what's going to happen, especially
Right.
during an eclipse. That's and there's so many possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And also the gate of shock is coming for me. So I have the 25 and the 51 is my bridge gate. I have two bridge gates, the 51 and then the 57. So yeah, it might be an interesting experience. I'm also hosting a full moon ceremony that I decided to do it again, which the last one was great. I really enjoyed it. So I'm like, you know what? Let's do it again. So we're doing it again. So I'll have done it at this point, and I'll share a bunch of stuff on my Instagram. I know I was barely visible this last week, but I feel like a lot of people kind of jumped off Instagram this last week, especially
Yeah.
the last few weeks. It's been dwindling,
Yeah.
but specifically this time period before the full moon and when Mercury retrograde started, people are like, fuck, I'm out of this shit. I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out.
seriously.
I've been out. I have not been
It's been a
active on
while.
there, especially in my stories. I've actually surprisingly been more active on my actual feed, which is rare for me. And then I switched. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to be
Yeah.
active in my stories. I'm going to
Whatever.
be
And like I
active in,
said, like whatever feels good. Like you don't
yeah,
have to show up or do anything to you just do whatever you feel feels
yeah.
good.
And I feel like I've been having just inspirations to share
Yeah.
something. And so I did. And the last one, I don't know. I always think no one's going to want to hear this story of my near death experience, even though it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should share, since we're in the gate of shock right now, or in the full. We're actually in the full. We're in the 2551 right now. Like as people are listening to this,
Mm-hmm.
not right now as we're recording it, but it is a bit of a shocking story. I don't know how did you feel the first time you heard it? I know you've heard it
Yeah.
quite a few times
No,
at this
it
point.
definitely was very shocking. It was like, holy cow.
It's like my bridge gate came to meet me that day, because
Yeah.
the 25 is like, it was like, you are going to be one of the 25 is in the G center, right? So even love is a direction. So it's like it was coming back to this love that I had forgotten. I feel like the 25 is so wrapped in this like innocence and this acceptance. And it was that I was going, and that's what I feel like I came to the realization of on Tuesday, on my anniversary day of this, is that I have to have an acceptance of completion of this process. And that even though it did like shatter me, it didn't, like, I'm still alive. Like when Kanye raps, like, what That doesn't kill me, just makes me stronger. Blah, 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 blah. I forget the words. Okay. Um, and yes, I'm, I also sing in the shower. Um, that's where you can find me next. If you enjoyed that little ditty that you're probably like, don't ever do that again. Yeah, I literally like my like right now with Mercury retrograde, words are not, I mean, words are never really a part of my vocabulary. Like I just, open head, open throat, like I'm totally open up here. So words just kind of like scatter. It's like they go in all these directions and I'm like, I don't know what I just said to you. I just fumbled over my words. But anyways, should I share a nutshell version of the story for anyone that has not heard it? Should I
Sure.
share?
Yeah.
Would you like to hear it for the 250 millionth time?
You can share it, yeah. Just and then share maybe what you're taking away from it if you feel like that.
Okay. Well, let's see what comes up. I mean, I've had a lot of I feel like because the 4323 was hitting in the sun and the earth and hitting the nodes this last week,
Mm-hmm.
that it really like sparked people's, I don't know if you felt this way because you actually have it. So it's a little different when you have it because it's already a part of you. You're already
Yeah.
doing it on a regular basis. I do believe that when these gates and channels do come into the transits, that there is like a emphasis or focus or almost like the background frequency of these channels that you have, like if you actually have them defined in you, but they're happening in the transit, it's almost like they get turned on or it becomes like a theme for you that week that you don't even realize if you're not aware of it.
Yeah.
Then it's like it just becomes this background noise. But I've found when I've paid attention to my gates and channels when they come into transit, I'm like, oh, actually there was a pattern or a theme of some sort that played out with that specific gate or channel. So that's why I encourage people to like just observe throughout the week. If you know the energy of the week, whether you know it through what we're talking about here or you go and look them up, if you want to go to geneticmatrix.com, if you go to their homepage, you can see the transit for happening right now, like right now. I also like to use the Human Design app. I like their little slidey thing with their transits so that I can just like slide through the day. I'm like, what's happening today? Just slide through. So there's a lot of options on my Jovian. You can go to Jovian if you want. I don't usually go there. I like primarily to go to Genetic Matrix just because it has all my stuff in there.
Yeah.
Um, but I think when you start watching the transits and you see how they play out throughout the week, even if you don't fully understand what they mean, you'll see a pattern. There's a pattern unfolding through them. So, and like if you can almost jump onto them, I'd say try to jump on like mid end week. I know that you're like, what are you talking about? We'll do a whole thing. Just wait. And also support group, we're going to be doing a whole thing on this for them. So I think that'll be fun for 1 week because we do our weekly contemplation questions. So just observe, especially through this week with the full moon, a lot's going to be coming up for you. So here's my nutshell version of the story. I know Leah's like, okay, you said you were going to say it like 5 times now, and I'm still waiting
I
for
knew you
that
were getting
story.
there.
Here
You
we
were
go.
getting there.
Okay. So on May 10th, 2010, I had a client. I just to preface, I was a hair and makeup artist for 14 years. So in 2010, I had a salon suite and I had just gotten a bike because here's an extra part of the story that maybe people have heard or haven't heard. I don't always share this part. I was originally going to be moving to New York around this time because I wanted to go to what I thought was my ultimate kitchen, New York City, with another kitchens person. And so what I had done was I had an apartment. And so my brother had been living at my mom's house. So he took over my lease and I went to stay with my mom so I could save all the monies so that I could move to New York. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to like get rid of everything. So I got rid of my gym membership and I'm like, I'm going to buy a bike. I'm just going to ride my bike and that's going to be my exercise. I'll do some workouts at home and and then, and then in a few months after I've saved up all my monies, I'm going to move to New York. So that did not happen at all. That did not happen. Even it was completely shattered on May 10th, 2010. I had just gotten this bike the day before. And I was like, I had a client that convinced me. And I knew as she was asking me to say my sacral, I remember, like, I can remember back to this moment because it was such a, profound moment in my life. Like, I remember it like it was yesterday almost, but also like it was like a lifetime ago at the same time. And so she's like, you do my hair better than my New Jersey guy. I'm like, she's like trying to, like, butter up my defined heart. And she's like, will you come in? I know Monday you don't work, but will you come in on my day off and on your day off and do my hair? And I was like, I was making sounds. I was even like, ugh, that doesn't sound, no, I don't really want to do that. But then she talked me into it. And so, because I'm a people pleaser, or at least I was, I'm less of a people pleaser now, but she's still there. She still lives there inside of me. So when I stepped out my front door to get on this bike, I got a splenic hit, and my guides told me, don't go. And I just heard it. I remember hearing it. And at that time, I was not interested in any of that stuff. I was not. And so I was like, I don't know what the fuck that shit just was, but listen, mind, because it's like, it sounds like your voice. So I was like, listen, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm getting on this fucking bike. So and I'm also a third line. I don't care, guides. Don't tell me what to do. Okay. I'll do whatever I want. You tell me what to do, then I'm going to do the opposite. I'm getting on the bike. So I get on the bike. Halfway there, I also want to preface, I was wearing bright pink. When I talk about I was wearing bright pink, like like brighter than these hoodies that we're wearing right now, bright neon pink shirt. And then I had this wrap headband that was also bright pink. So I was bright pink from head to toe. Okay. And so it's like you couldn't miss me even if you tried. But because I'm an open throat, it's like it just confirms things. And I'm just like, whatever. We can laugh at that. I always feel like I'm see-through, which this day confirmed that I was see-through if I want to go there, but I also can make a joke about it at the same time. So I'm crossing the street. I had gotten on the sidewalk because it was so narrow, the road that I was on. So I had gotten on the sidewalk so I could cross over. And it was in between a neighborhood. So I see this man coming out of the neighborhood and there's a stop sign. So I'm like, okay, I got the right of way here. I'm going to go. I saw everything I saw and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go. So I start crossing. I'm halfway through the crosswalk now. All of a sudden, my body collides with the car and I get thrown off my bike. My bike is crushed, by the way. I get thrown off my bike. I'm flying through the air. When I tell you that like time stops and your life flashes before your eyes, when people tell you that, it's true. Like literally, I went backwards and then forwards and I began praying through the air because I didn't know anything else to do. And I also was not wearing a helmet because I'm smart and I was not wearing a helmet. So I'm like, I'm potentially about to die right now. And all I'm going to pray for right now is that I don't hit my head. I'm like, if I don't hit my head, I feel like I have a chance to make it. So I was praying as I'm flying through the air. I had probably 0.5 seconds. Don't hit your head. So I brace the hood of the car with my right hand. I tear my right wrist and I roll off the hood of the car into the middle of the street. My entire body is specifically my legs are all cut up and like gushing blood. I'm convulsing at this point, because my body's going into shock. So I'm convulsing. I'm lying in the middle of the street and I'm about to get hit by another car. There's more cars coming. There's I flew into the street basically. And so I see these cars coming. I can't move. My legs are completely gashed open. All of a sudden, this I'm not joking, this really did happen. This man pops out of the bushes. I don't know where the fuck he came from. There was not like any like workers there. Like there was nobody working on the like grass or the foliage or whatever the fuck was going on over there. Just pops out and he runs super fast, grabs me and drags me over to the grass so I don't get hit by this car. And he looks me in the eye and I like it's like he wasn't there, but he was there because he fucking touched me, but he like wasn't there at the same time. And it's like I needed physical evidence to say this actually happened. Like I can say that I was actually handed a card because I later had to give this card to my lawyer. He handed me a card, had his name and his phone number on it. Do not remember the name. And he just said, if you need me, that's it. And I was like, what the fuck does this mean? And then he disappeared, like literally just disappeared. He did not wait. You would think a person that's a witness, they're going to wait for the police so they could talk to the police, right? And then also an ambulance to make sure that I was like going to make it in. There's like everyone stopped at this point, crowded around me. Obviously, there's when a physical body or someone gets into an accident, everyone stops, right? Everyone's calling the police, and this person disappears, or whatever they were. I honestly don't believe that it was a real person. I still don't believe that because what I'm about to tell you. So I had to go through 4 years of hell, of surgeries, physical therapy, being poked, all of this shit and I'm calm determination. I hate being touched. I really do. I also have my tonal resonance is also touched. So it's like I feel like and I feel like you probably can relate to this, Leah. Like I feel the inside of somebody when they touch me. And so it was a very hellish 4 years. And I had to give that card to the lawyer because we needed to have him as a witness because I had to go through all this stuff. And the number didn't exist. It literally didn't exist. There was no, it just went, it said it like do, this number does not exist, blah, 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 blah. And that's all. And it was a crazy time in my life. I went through hell figuring out what I need to do. I've shared this story numerous times. I just shared it recently on my stories. But I feel like that really had to happen to me because I was going the wrong way. And I feel like as a defined G center, there's a specific path that we're on this life, like that we're supposed to take, that we just feel it's like there's this little string that's pulling us along. I don't know if you feel this way, Leah, but it's like there's this little string that's like pulling us along. We don't always know where we're going, but we trust it. We trust that string that's pulling us. And I knew the moment that I transferred and I went off course and went into doing hair and makeup instead of like what I felt like when I was a child, to be of service to people and help them, because I had gone through also trauma with my father. I had an abusive father. So I went through a lot, like between age of 0 and 30, I went through a lot of shit, like a lot of shit that most people don't have to deal with. I mean, most people don't almost die like that. So it's like a lot of things I had to go through, but it was for this moment right now to be doing what I'm doing now. Doing hair and makeup what had me in innocence. And I felt that, like I felt the shift that happened the moment that I left college and went into hair and makeup, because I thought it was going to be easier, but it actually was harder. But it was bringing me back to like all of my love gates, like traveling through them, like love of the body. Like I had to learn how to love, almost like I have like tremors that happen. I've shared them a few times on my Instagram that happen in my body. And also like I've gone through body struggles with my weight. So I've gone through like every possible, I feel like physical struggle, especially because my 46 is in third line, like every physical struggle I've had to go through. And then it had to come back to love of self with this whole like finding, like still being in, it's like learning how to be in the love and have acceptance. Like I feel like that's what Vessel of Loves are really here to do, is to learn about acceptance. of all of these places, acceptance of the physical body, acceptance of universal love, that we're in this total existence together, like acceptance of humanity and the good, the bad, and ugly that comes with it, but it's all love. Even the quote unquote, you would say, bad people in humanity or whatever, there's there's a bigger purpose as to why they had to do that, for love, for the collective, to move the collective forward. Like what's happening right now with Roe versus Wade, like as heartbreaking. Like when I talk about that, this really tearing me up. I haven't shared too much about this on my social media, but it's tearing me up inside for people to not have body autonomy, especially as a vessel of love. Like I don't know how you feel, but I like I'm just like, what can I do, like as a person? I asked this actually to one of my manifestor friends that's a 5-1. Of course, I asked the 5-1. I'm like, what do I do? Tell me, like, help. How do I save people? You know, right? Your fifth
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
And she's like, you have to just keep empowering people. That's what you're here to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I feel like the story has really empowered other people. And that's what I feel like when these huge moments happen to us. What one thing that I've really learned this last week was that if you can live to tell your story, that story needs to be told. And that's because I question a lot when I tell this story, because it's kind of dark and it's kind of sounds crazy. It's very like gate 43 for me, because I don't have the 23, but it's like I'm trying, like it's like I'm able like to express it through that 43, like connecting to the 23, and I'm connecting to your 23 right now. I'm connecting to the 23 and the transits right now. It's a crazy story, but it happened. I am grateful for it to have happened, because it humbled me. Like I look down at my wrist every day and I see that scar from my wrist surgery, and my hand sometimes shakes, and it humbles me because I know the beauty of what it actually means to be alive and to be in the physical form. So that's a nutshell version of what I've learned.
I feel like that's a powerful story to tell, to be on this side of it and recognize, like, that's not where you were supposed to be headed, and what it feels like to know what your spleen says, even if you didn't have any idea what human design was. Like those
Mm-hmm.
little hits of like, oh, I should have listened in that moment to that thing. That's, it's a really, when you can pair it, not really pair it, but like identify a lot of things that happened through the lens of human design. And when that kind of pivoted for you, and then all of the sequencing of events that happened after the fact, like your story now after that happened, you would have never found any of these things. You
No,
wouldn't be here now to
no.
to share what you've learned, and you wouldn't have gone to the Kabbalah Center. Like you wouldn't have done all of
No,
those things
I
had
would have
you.
stayed in innocence. I would have
Yeah.
moved to New York. I was already
Yeah.
starting a career there because I had connections there, and I was looking to start doing like runway shows and stuff. And like, I just had, I always have big aspirations, but it was somebody else's dream. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like it was honestly more of my mom's dream. Like, she wished that she always could have been more creative.
Yeah.
And I feel like I tried to live that out for her. That's one
Yeah.
thing that I learned during the pandemic,
And
was
she saw
that
you were good at it too, so it's like
I'm
encouraged to
getting
do what you're
attention.
good at
Yes,
because you're getting
I got
attention.
so much open throat attention
Yeah. Yeah.
for my hair and makeup skills. And like, people always, for whatever reason, love my hair. I even met somebody recently that I have become friends with, and she's just my hair looks like the way it is now. And she's like, you have the most beautiful hair. And I was like, I do. And I'm just like, and like people have, and like that used to be like, you would make my day. If you told me that my hair and makeup was on point, or that I had like, I'm
Thanks.
beautiful in whatever way, I'd be like, oh, you just stroked my defined heart. My open throat feels like really seen. And but now this is how I know that it was so incorrect for me. Like now when I hear these compliments, they're like they're just like open. Like they don't fill me up. Like I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh, thank you. Like I appreciate it. I mean, who doesn't appreciate a compliment? I mean, I guess I gotten better. I used to push them away. I used to push away compliments.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, oh, thank you. I'll take it. But I used to like live on it for a while, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. And now I'm just like, oh, thank you. That's cool. Like
Yeah.
I'd rather you tell me how much I've made an impact on you. My desire and motivation, because that's innocence to me.
Right.
When you tell me that I look beautiful, I'm
Yeah.
like, thanks. Perfect. 6 line. Here I
Yeah.
am. But I want you to tell me how I have changed your life. That's what when people DM me stuff like that, that's my desire. Like that's when they see me in the desire, I'm like, okay, I can feel it. You know, when people see you in your guilt, like you can, it's the sensation that happens in your body. You're like, oh, you actually see me, right? Because this is your motivation is how other people see your view, right? Your
Right.
perspective
Yeah.
and what you bring to the table. And so when people see what I bring to the table, I'm like, oh, this is what it actually feels like. All those
Mm-hmm.
other open, like handed compliments that just were empty to me. They were
Yeah.
just empty compliments, and I still love them, but not. It just goes very quickly now. Before I used to hold on to it because that's all I had to hold on to.
Yeah. I feel like as a projector, it's sort of similar because
Mm-hmm.
I'm like the recognition feels genuine now. Like people truly do recognize me for who I am and what I can do and what I've been doing rather than what I was doing before and just didn't feel fully in it, like
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
loved what I was doing when I was doing it, when I was in network marketing and stuff, but it was not fulfilling in
No.
its entirety. And there were a lot of times where I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I couldn't let
Yes.
go of it. Yeah.
Yes.
So
I
like
had
my
a lot of
my
those moments.
pivotal moment, I think, which it wasn't as traumatic as yours, is my shoulder injury. Like
Mm-hmm.
what was it? Was it almost 2 years ago? 1 year ago? I don't remember. But I was like just barely hanging on to what I was doing. And I was like, I can't let go. I don't want to, I got to do something else. But, I found human design and I really like this. And I don't know how to pair it with what I'm doing so I can love them both. But really, I needed to let go of that. And when I injured my shoulder, it was like, okay, you got to stop. Like, literally have to stop doing that.
Well,
And,
it's like you had, like, we both have gate 60. It's like
right.
there had to be a roadblock that had to be placed in our way to say, this
Mm-hmm.
isn't for you. This isn't actually for you.
Yeah.
And it allowed you to actually recognize that maybe there's something off here. Like if
Yeah.
your physical body, if you start having physical situations, like I had to physically get hit with the car, you had to physically do injure your shoulder basically for the universe to be again, because the universe defined G's, you weren't on the right path. It's like, listen,
Right.
I'm going to put something in your way. And I know it's going to have to be physical because you're not going to listen. You're also defined heart.
Yeah.
You're
You're
not going
not
to
going to
fucking listen.
listen.
You're
None of
defined
those
G, defined
hints.
heart. You're like, I'm fixed in this
Yeah.
identity, right?
Uh
I
huh.
can power through.
Uh
I
huh.
can go through the struggle. I got 20, I gate 28. I'm going gate 28. It's like, I'm going through the struggle. This is purple, that there's no purpose in this struggle. I can feel it, right? I can feel there's no purpose in this struggle. Life is purposelessness, right?
Yeah.
And but I'm going to keep doing it because I don't actually understand what actual real struggle, what's worth. I don't understand the other side of it, the pressure of what's
Right.
worth fighting for,
Right.
right? We don't understand that.
Yeah.
Now that I have clarity around that hanging gate 28, that Pluto, that's really like transformation, which Pluto is also ruler of Scorpio, by the way. So like it's interesting that we're having this conversation right now, but it's like we both have this because it's a generational planet. So we were both born around the same time. So we have it in our designs. And I feel like that 28 is really like, listen, you're gonna go through some like struggly stuff and it's going to feel like there's no purpose, but I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to meet the other side of it. It's not going to come immediately. It's going to come when the somehow you're going to meet that 38. I actually have had a few 38s in my life, and especially around this time, it's like when I meet somebody that has the 38, my son, my youngest son, Otis, he has the 38. I had to go through a whole struggle when he was born. Yeah, he ended up in the PICU because he stopped breathing, which is really interesting because he has gate 22, which is connected to the breath. That's a whole nother. I told people that I would do a podcast episode on that, and I haven't done it yet. But if you guys are interested, I also have really interesting stories on both my boys' births related to human design. Like I've already connected, you obviously know, I've
Yeah.
already connected every piece to that. They're also part of my incarnation cross. I had a Libra on purpose because I knew that if I was going to enter my North Node or enter it correctly or move towards it, if I could like move it a little bit, you don't really reach it until, after your Chiron return or whatever. But I'm like, let's establish this direction. I'm like, I'm having a Libra because he is in my unconscious sun. So I had a Libra on purpose. And my North Node in Taurus is in my fourth house of the family. It's like on the cusp actually between my fourth and fifth. But I feel there's definitely both sides to it. But because Milo also, he's a Cancer and Cancer is ruled by the fourth house.
Yeah.
There's a deep intertwined connection between me and my boys, and that they're really here to show me the harmony and the balance between work and home.
Yeah.
That's what I'm really here to learn this life. And it was actually, and the reason why I feel deeply connected to the fourth house of it is because when I was little, I made a defined heart promise to myself that I would always be available for my children. There was like this wounding that happened because my mother had to be the breadwinner because my father was a deadbeat. And I was like, my mom's never available. And I was like, I feel like she's supposed to be here. Like there's something inside of me that's like, she's supposed to be available and she can never be available. And when she was available, she was exhausted because she had been working.
Yeah.
Running and taking me and my brother everywhere. So I'm just like, I'm going to make it a mission that I will, when I have children, because I knew this was a part of my life path before I even knew it was a part of my life path, that I would be there for them. And I was like, I'm going to figure out how to work and still be available for my boys. And here we are. I'm literally doing it now. So it's like I'm walking towards it. I know I won't fully see the fullness of it for quite some time, but
Yeah.
I feel like I'm at least walking in that direction now. How about you? Speaking of the nodes, since we are the nodes of the nodes that are happening right now, how do you feel with
I
your?
don't know. That's like a good question. I feel like I might need to like think on it a little bit, but I feel like right now I'm just allowing myself to set boundaries, like saying
Mhm.
yes and no to things, and not like I have a cleaning business on the side, and I've had a lot of people refer people to me. They're like, this is my cleaner, like she's amazing, she does this, and I get these invitations all the time from people saying, do you come here, do you come to this city, do you go here? And as much as I would love to say yes and like take all these clients and do
Yeah,
all
your
this
defined
stuff,
heart's like, I can fucking do that.
yeah,
Just
I'm like,
let it rip.
yes,
I'll do
let's
it.
go. But I can't. And I know I can't. And first of all, I'm not driving all over the globe because
No.
it's too expensive. Second, I feel like I would have to charge more, which I totally could. It would be fine.
But
But
then the physical
also,
part.
the physical part it's exhausting. And both my husband and I had talked about me doing like deep cleanings for people. And I just did one last week and it took me 9 hours. It took me 2 days.
Oh wow.
And it took me 3 days to recover. I was like, I can't
No,
do
you
that.
can't do those
And he
anymore.
was like, no, you
Yeah.
can't do that. He's like, I thought that would be cool, like, because you make a bunch of money, like, blah, blah,
Well,
blah.
yeah.
And
That
it's
that was his
great. Money
transferred
is
survival
perfect.
right
Yeah.
there.
But that's, you take your body and you
Yeah, it's a
can't
toll.
physically do it. It was not comfortable. And I was satisfied with how it looked after. I'm like, that was really great. Like, I know I did a
You're
great
not.
job,
No.
but I can't do a bunch of those. So That was
Your
something that I learned.
limitations.
I know my
Know your
limitation.
limitations. Gate
And
60,
you know,
gate
I
60.
and we have like summer coming up, so like I have the kids home. Like it was just like this whole, thing where I'm like I just have to keep saying no to people and come back to me, like if I change my mind, or if the fall comes and I have more room and I am still
Yeah.
doing things, then come back to me. You have my number. But I can't be doing, I'm only one person, and I'm not going to make a franchise, and I'm not going to have
No.
employees. I wanted to do it for a little extra money, but not like to completely burn myself out.
Right.
And
You've already done that in other ways.
I've
So you've
already done that.
learned,
Yeah.
and it's not, and I mean, if it is your calling, I don't, and for anyone that cleaning is their calling, some people like exceptional at it and it is part of their
Hmm.
calling. And I totally like, I know that that's not my calling. We need to have people that it is their
Yeah.
calling, right?
Yeah.
So, but do you feel like cleaning is your calling?
I really enjoy doing it. I feel like if I don't, I like it's my
Okay, but
external,
that's,
but it's my external markets,
yeah,
and I feel really comfortable talking with people if I'm in their house and they want to talk to
that's a
me.
different, you didn't answer my question though. Is this your calling? There's a
No,
difference,
no, it's not
but
my
because
calling.
we can do stuff for side work or whatever that
Yeah.
we enjoy, right?
Yeah.
That is not what I asked you. I didn't
No.
ask you if you enjoyed it. I
But I avoided answering the question really well, didn't I?
You did, but I'm gonna bring it back because I have an open throat. We're
No,
coming back to the truth.
it's definitely not my calling. I feel like I would like to do it for maybe the three people that I have for a little while, and then I might decide after a period of time if there's something that I want to do anymore. And then I just
Mhm.
will remember that, I don't feel bad for having to move on because that's what
Right,
people do.
right,
I also have an unknown of my shoulder if I have to go back in for surgery or if this is going to go away. Like
right.
there's multiple, I'm already gearing my brain up for not letting it. This is where I get hung up, is letting people down. And
Well,
that's
that's the
what
defined heart. We're like,
yeah.
people need us, but people need
Yeah.
us.
And
And
I
that's
have them
how
scheduled and like, but
they're counting on
honestly,
us. We've
they'll
made
be
this commitment to
fine.
them.
But they'll be fine without me. That's the
Yes.
thing. Like in what I'm doing, they'll be fine without me. They will
Yeah.
find somebody else. I'm
Yeah.
replaceable. It's not a big deal.
Or the few clients from back in Florida that have already texted me since I've moved here that have
Yeah.
literally said, I still have not gone to anybody else, or I went to somebody and it was awful. And you're the only one that actually took care of my hair and
Yeah.
loved me the way that like I needed. And I was like, and this hair is so personal.
It
This is
is.
my
It really
transferred
is.
view. It was
Hmm.
so personal for people that I took on that story
Yeah.
for me. And it feels very personal for me because it's my artistic work. And I do take a lot of pride in my artwork, whether it's physically or I also paint and draw. And so it was such a personal thing for me
Hmm.
that I realized that I'm not in power view when I'm doing that. I'm
Yeah.
just not. I'm like helping people through their story almost, but not, or like overemphasizing it or whatever in some way, or, but it was, and it felt, it's almost like if the person didn't like my work, I would lose it. I never really
Right.
had that happen, but it was always like in the back of my mind, like,
Hmm.
what if
Yeah.
this is going to be the time?
Yeah.
I, I was just naturally skilled, just, and that doesn't always mean though that it's meant to be shared in that way.
Hmm.
That's what I learned. Sometimes it's just
Yeah.
for you. I really enjoy doing my own hair and makeup. And I love the expression because I have an open throat. Like I love, like people would think that I have an open undefined G possibly with the way I change my appearance a lot and all this stuff. It's my open throat. It's not my G center. It's the way it literally gives me life, creation. It's creation for me when I do that. So I like being able to put on different expressions,
Yeah.
but I don't really want to do it for other people. Whenever I would have to go and do like a big job or whatever, I would have a big like book for that day, there would be frustration because I didn't want to I didn't want to deal with anyone's like emotions. There's a lot of emotions that come up for people when they're getting their hair and makeup done.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do weddings also, especially towards the end. And there was this one wedding that I did where it didn't happen with me, but it happened with the friend that I was working with. We were doing a wedding together, and she was doing the bride, and the bride had a feeling she is an emotional, and she was going through this low. It did not matter how beautiful my friend was making her. She looked great. There was literally nothing wrong with the makeup. She tore my friend apart.
Oh man.
I literally had to pull her in a corner. I had to talk her up. So I'm like inflating her heart.
Yeah.
She's a manifesting generator with the 4323. And I don't know if she had a defined heart or not. I don't think she did. But and then I had to go talk to the bride. I had to be the mediator because she was starting to say that she didn't want her to do her makeup. I said, listen, I went up to her, my defined heart, my vessel of love. I was like, listen, Jenny does great work. You look phenomenal right now. Like you need to let her. I was like, do us a favor. Let her finish. I was like, just let her finish. Right now, we're in the middle of it. When you're in the middle of a look, you can't really see the end result. I was like, just
Right.
let her finish it and then tell us how you feel. Or what do you not want her to do? Tell her that right now so that she doesn't do that and what you actually enjoy. And my sacral came in, and I'm like, and so that she can do that, and we'll let that be the focus. But just wait till the end. Let her get to the end before you tell her that it's shit.
Right.
Okay? Can we try that? And she's like, okay. And she calmed down. And then it was fine. But she had to go through that wave
Mm-hmm.
because it was getting married is an emotional time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what's better than to have a vessel of love helping
Right.
helping with a
Yeah.
wedding? There was a lot of positive aspects at the end there of the way I did live out my design through that. Like that was the most correct. I felt like doing those weddings because I would just I would get recognized for my skills and people would just ask me like
Mm-hmm.
through referral and through I had a few different ways that people could find me and working with other people. And so that was the most correct for me because I didn't actually have to go and look for anything. And there was no initiating there at the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
So,
That's always the best.
but I still would rather not. I have stories for days on weddings.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's what's happening with us friends. I hope you enjoyed those stories. And think of what, we're going to go through what's going on this week. And obviously, we're going to start with the full moon that's happening today. Or if you're listening to this more in the future, then it already happened. Don't know when you're listening to this. So it's either it's happening or it's happened. But either way. So as you're listening to this, just allow yourself to see what are you clearing right now. Scorpio, you know, they don't leave any stone unturned. All the stones are getting lifted this time. The carpet is getting like you're gonna raise it in the air and you're gonna shake it out and like everything's gonna come falling out this week. But sometimes there's dead weight. You're carrying dead weight around with you, and this week is going to help you release it. So let's talk about it. So, Monday, we've got the full moon. Okay. So, this is going to be a total lunar eclipse. And it's happening in Scorpio, obviously, as we've just been talking about. And so Scorpio is a fixed water sign. So anything when you hear fixed when it comes to, the astrological signs, it's referring to that it's almost got one rhythm. It's a little fixed people are a little more stubborn. Like look at Leah, for example. She's an Aquarius.
100% accurate.
So, they're a little fixed signs, a little more stubborn. So that there might be a little hesitation. What this is saying is there might be a little hesitation this week to move. Okay. Move through some stuff, but it's okay. It's water and water is fluid. So it's almost like there's a few little rocks in the way that you need to just like open up the dam and just let the water works out. Okay. So Scorpio represents power, sex, intuition, and depth. And this full moon will be about shedding that scorpion skin, the suit that no longer fits. Okay. Whatever that outfit is. And then it's about death, not hopefully not actual death, but like death of the ego, death of the identity, death of a part of you that it's time to release. And then you're going to rise into the phoenix that you were born into, okay? Or here to become. So this total lunar eclipse will be about releasing old ways of power, which is very interesting. Again, that I just brought up Roe versus Wade. There's a whole, I want to potentially, I say this potentially because I'm like, I could probably talk about this for days, but the correlation and the connection between this eclipse, this full moon, and the Pluto return and how that's related to Roe versus Wade. It's all connected. And so I'll be curious. I'm just going to say this now. I'll be very curious and I have a little fear around it, but I'm trying to just like surrender to whatever is about to happen. But there's a little fear on because Scorpio is about power. So it's like, there's going to be a power struggle that I think is going to happen. But it's what it's going to do is no matter what happens, is it's going to wake us up. It's going to be rocky, most likely, but it's going to wake us up. And hopefully within that shakeup, it's going to move the collective forward. And we have to see right now through Scorpio, the foundation of America. What is the foundation of America? What have we been built upon? And it's all about ego and power. And I take this and this is mine. And you like, these are the rules and here's the hierarchy. And it's all built on misogyny. And I'm sorry that I'm going through a whole thing right now, but this is stuff that's going to come up. This is what's going to be coming up from now through the end of the year, really. But there will probably be some sort of shakeup along the lines of this. So I mean, I don't obviously know, but a lot of signs point to it. So there's going to be a power struggle. Okay. So it's about old ways you try to use your internal power that never really served you, and continuing to shed layers of old stories you used to tell yourself, which is really interesting because like this whole last week, I feel like we've been especially with Mercury retrograde. I also wrote this for our year forecast. And when I read it, I was like, well, all of this stuff is happening right now. So all these old stories that we have been telling us, and it's about releasing past patterns and learning from our history. I literally wrote this like with seeing all this stuff in mind, and it's all coming up right now, right? We're meeting our past. We are literally meeting our past. So it's about releasing these past patterns and learning from our history to propel us forward to speak through our inner truth. And people are going to be coming out. People are not going to sit. If you tell someone I'm going to take away your power, you tell a woman, I'm going to take away your power. We're going into a more feminine time. 2027 is going to bring us into receptivity. Okay. This is a slower, more feminine energy. And I don't mean like the real masculine and feminine, but it's like this fluid flow that we're going to be going into. And there will not be power struggle for this next direction, for this next theme. We are leaving the racks of planning and we're entering into the sleeping phoenix. And the sleeping phoenix is all about the individual, and the individual has the rights over their body, has the rights over their life, has the rights to be an individual. So it's being shattered right now. Like if people really understood what the program, and the reason why we call this the program is because we are being programmed through the matrix. We are going through different programs programs each week, each month, each year. Like there's cycles that we're going through. And most people don't understand that this is the background frequency of our human existence, of our minds. So allow yourself right now to like really capture your power and start speaking your inner truth with this full moon eclipse. So the question that we asked ourselves last week, that's going to be running into this week, and a theme of the full moon is, what is fueling you right now? Because this energy being expressed during this full moon is what is powering your vehicle. So what really moves you? What is the reason why you are here? Where do you need to relinquish power right now and surrender to a bigger purpose? Also, like we don't often do that. We try to make shit happen, or we try to like do things that are against what we're actually here to do. So this is clearing away of what is no longer working. There is a dynamic of power struggle here. Like, as I just said, we can see, like I said, with the Roe versus Wade and the Pluto return and the Scorpio release with the lunar eclipse is pushing us to face our higher principles. So if you can do maybe a burning ceremony during the full moon, we're going to put this out early so you'll be able to hear this early. So you can, honestly, you can do it throughout the week. The eclipse is going to be running throughout the week. So even if you can't do it on this day, pick a day during this week, do maybe a little burning ceremony with this one, and with a focus being based around honesty. Okay. Like really get honest with yourself. This is the theme of this week, honesty on what truly holds us together. Isn't that interesting? The way to transcend this full moon eclipse is sharing. We don't really know what the act of sharing is. Sharing is when you fill up your cup first and it is so full that it needs to overflow into another. The whole point of you filling up your cup is the act of sharing. If we all allowed ourselves to be abundant and share that abundance with another, then we could all be abundant together. So really focus on the act of sharing this week, to share your honest truth and accept our limitations as well. Limitations are mere illusions that I believe we are here to overcome. The first step is acceptance. So sit with the act of sharing this week, as it will be a part of our focus and what the full moon is here to release as well. So it's all about also grounding us in this understanding of what is fueling your vehicle. Again, going back to that, make this a journal question. What is fueling your vehicle? So this might actually be a question you're going to ask yourself during this time, whether you want to journal on it, speak it to yourself in a mirror, tell it to a friend if you're like a G-center authority or mental projector. Get curated to yourself. So what am I trying to relate or let go of right now that no longer fuels my being? So it's like, first question is, what fuels my being? And then what is no longer fueling me? And so you can really see both sides of it, right? Like Mercury retrograde in Gemini right now is saying, what are both sides of this coin? All right. So have I been experiencing new thoughts or sensations around what actually fuels me? Look back to this last week and see if you can remember any visions you might have had, or breakthroughs or epiphanies, and see if it's pointing you in a direction of what fuels you. We also have a little jetpack happening on the full moon, also a little while after that, on pushing our vehicle towards our next big steps with the heart and the G center pairing up during this full moon. So really helping you figure out what you need to communicate. Might be a little shocking. Again, I told you we got the 2551 for this. So what's shocking or even energizing, but necessary to expand your dreams into a reality. I mean, full moons are here to shake us up. And with the channel of initiation pushing us to move towards a bigger love than ourselves, there could be some shock or even excitement. Excitement's also shock, right? So along the way, so noodle on that. Saturday, we have a new focus. Okay. So right after we go through all this stuff, Saturday, we're going to gain a new focus, and it's supposed to be also a very powerful day that I'll get to in a moment. but let's share about the focus. So this is about the full channel of charisma is going to be happening in the sun and the earth for this new program. This is about expressing our power in the now. Our focus will be on our expression and our truth in the now. What are you feeling the desire to express? And we are being grounded in our power. How does your internal power help create this 3D world? What are your convictions and how do they fuel you? Might be a question for the end of the week. Now, getting to what the power of this day is going to be. So this is on the 21st, May 21st. I just want to preface that so that you know what I'm talking about. So May 21st, there's going to be, some of you may never heard this word before, but I'm going to tell it to you. A kazemi. Okay. I don't know if I'm saying this word right, but a kazemi, kazami. I don't know. You know, Kazimi happening with the Mercury retrograde, with Mercury on this day, and it's a potential chance to create magic. And you might have a huge potential breakthrough also on this day. So keep all of this in mind and allow yourself to be the witness of what's trying to come through. There's going to be something coming through on the 21st. And a kazemi, probably not saying this word right, but it's okay. Someone can correct me if they want. Where's gate 18? So a kazemi is when a planet is in the heart of the sun. So this looks like with Mercury being in the heart of the sun, that there could be a focus shining on our truest expression on this day, really pushing us to almost like see something maybe that we're missing might come up on this day, a conversation that might move something through you. Just observe on the 21st, see what comes up. But there you might have some positive aspects through whatever potential darkness you've released through the full moon. And that's pretty much the week. So we got a bunch of hard activity happening, lots of G center. I mean, the G center has been fucking active, right? She's been like, listen, I'm taking you guys on a ride. We're all going somewhere different. No, you can't bring the past with you, sillies. No. Oh, you're going to try to do it? Oh, we're going to go for a ride then. So here we are. And that's just, just a few things happening this week. Not too much.
No big deal. No big deal at all. We got it. I mean, I feel like that's like the good thing about having these updates, like these transit updates, is like now we have some awareness, like background music, so we can have the awareness that that's playing out, and then we can look around at life and be like, oh, okay, that's where that played out.
I think it gives you a little sense of I guess I can only speak for myself. It gives me a little bit of a sense of security and a foundation because I'm a 1-3. So I like to prepare. And I also rising Capricorn. Like I'm like, how much can I prepare? I prepared my births. I literally had a Libra on purpose. How crazy is that? So I'm all about prep. So I want to make sure that you guys are prepared because when have an idea, obviously we don't really know, right? This is all potentials. Right. All the transits are potentials.
Yeah.
Of what could be. And you depending how it hits your chart, I would definitely say look to see during this full moon where Scorpio is placed in your chart. What planets are ruling Scorpio, what house is ruling Scorpio. And if you can figure out also, like I'd look to see what gates you have happening in Mercury, your moon, and just kind of see what the story is. There's always a little story playing out for you. So if you kind of look at those places together, you'll be able to see, hey, I can say for myself, listen, you got Scorpio and Mars, you got Scorpio in the South Node. Do I have Scorpio anywhere else? I can't remember off the top of my head now because we're in Mercury retrograde and who knows what I'm thinking. But this is telling me that I'm really going to try with Mars and Scorpio and South Node. I'm really going to try to push through during this full moon a lot of places that have limited my power, places that have limited my identity, and and allowing the past path in the past to be cleared so that I can create movement. We are having our another the next, actually never mind, we won't go there because we'll be here all day. Never mind. But just allow yourself to see, where is this hitting my chart, because that's your personal story. Okay, we're talking, right? I'm just telling you guys the collective of what that probably is going to look like,
Right.
and what the theme and the background music is going to be for you with this. But there are
Mm-hmm.
specific details happening in your human design and also your astrology chart if you want to look there. So what are the cards telling us for this full moon in this week?
Well, so I'm going to pull 3. Well, I felt like I wanted to pull an extra one for this just because there's so much going on. So the first one I'm going to pull is from the tarot deck, and it's just going to be like a general, I don't know if I ever say this, like it's just general for anybody who needs to hear it. You can take it with you. We have a lot of feedback that says, like that they resonated with like one specific card. So I don't feel like it has to be every single time, and maybe it just doesn't, and that's okay. But the oracle cards for sure, and like the affirmations and stuff, I feel like you can re-listen to it or write it down on a sticky note or something and remind yourself again. So for the tarot, I got the King of Cups. Oops. Oh, look, and my ring light looks really nice right here. And so the King of Cups is there's a bunch of movement going on. There's the fish. There's a lot of fish on here. There's water, and his robe is blue, which for me is a lot of water movement. And I feel like this is also because he's got like this look about him too. That's sort of I don't. The kings are sort of like romantic, and they're also powerful, and they also have a lot of strength behind them too. And with his position of having the cup, and he also has like this little staff with the cup on it in his hand. He's really, he's sort of like he's trying to show you strength. He's trying to show you that you can have strength. And he also has like a red cloak on him, and red is usually about power and strength as well. I feel like this is just really telling you to show up for yourself, to show up in your true strength and your true power, and whatever that looks like for you, and to stand up for yourself, and to stand up for whoever needs that someone to be behind them, someone to back them up, which I feel like is pretty accurate for the time right now. Okay, so the next I'm going to do is the Rebecca Campbell. And, oops. So this one's Oracle cards. And the next one I'm going to do, the last one, is the Soul's Journey, which is, I'll show everybody on YouTube. This is what it looks like here. And this one is sort of like a guided kind of deal. It's sort of the same thing. So I'll do this one first. I'm very tingly today. Ooh, transformation. This one's pretty. And also very accurate for this time. Okay, so transformation. Things are changing at a cellular level. And, okay, so things are changing at a cellular level. You are not who you were a year ago or who you will soon be. You are in between, emerging, half risen, half fallen. Keep doing the work. You are transforming. You will look back at this time with awe. So much is happening in your inner world within your cells. It's time to release old ways of being that have kept you in the fight, flight, or freeze mode. To choose a new way of being where trauma is not the driving force. Also very accurate right now. Old childhood patterns are rising up to be healed. As you allow yourself to observe them and feel them without any attachment, they loosen their grip and they fall away. If you are being called to find new ways You are being called to find new ways to self-soothe. Saturn and the Black Madonna and the African goddess Oshun influence this card. Saturn represents destruction and transformation. The Black Madonna represents the underground and all that has been cast aside. And Oshun, I'm probably saying that wrong and I apologize, represents the tender love of the original mother. A rethreading is happening, healing at the deepest of levels. Where you are in this phase, don't put yourself under pressure to perform. You may need to review your relationships with your body, perhaps even shifting your diet or exercise regimen, or getting energetic healing support. You may also need to consider getting some kind of emotional support as an issue from your childhood may come up to be healed. And remember, you are deeply loved. So an activation for this card, you can repeat to yourself or write it down on a sticky note. I allow myself to receive the deepest healing and transformation for change to happen at a cellular level. And I just have to pause and say, I have chills all over my entire body after reading that whole thing. Okay. Last one. I feel like these have all just been extremely accurate so far. Quick shuffle. Okay. And this one's called Envy. And it says, I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. So someone may need this also. It's kind of short. You must learn to accept that the obstacles in your life have been chosen by you. To be jealous of the path of another is to doubt your ability to judge what is best for you. It is human nature to covet the perceived luxuries of someone in a different journey, but to try and emulate him or her is not being true to your own guidance. You have chosen this life and these circumstances for a reason. By disregarding that and following in the footsteps of another, you are only setting yourself up for confusion and disappointment. You never really know what is going on in another person's life and what personal challenges he or she may face, so to be envious is a fool's game. Be authentic to your inner voice because only you know what is in your best interest, and if you don't follow your own path, you will have to reincarnate in an attempt to learn your original lessons again. Oh, that's...
Also really Scorpio to reincarnate past lives. All of those were very transformation. Pull the card transformation. Scorpio's all that's like this. If you don't get anything about what Scorpio is, word transformation.
Transformation.
Like, those are all very accurate.
Super accurate. Amazing. Well, I hope that's helpful for everybody.
Yeah, and if you found this helpful, share it with a friend, share it with a family member. Yeah. I have people actually that I know personally in my life, or people that DM me, or like, because people know that I love transits, and they'll ask me everyone always like, what the fuck is going on right now? And so I just send them the podcast. I stopped answering, and I'm like, it's all right here.
Yeah.
So if you have anybody asking you questions like that, maybe send them the podcast. Or if you know someone that might be interested in this, or you know someone that's just getting into human design, just getting into astrology, or like interested in transits, maybe not even interested in any of that at all, but maybe they're going through something, and maybe this episode could help them with. There's a lot of nuggets of wisdom for what's going on right now in the collective, and also where we're going and headed. And we'll see you guys on the other side.
Yeah, we'll see ya.
All right. Bye, friends. Have a happy full moon and rest of your week.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Crystal and I are really here as defined hearts to provide value to you with our unique insights. If you have found any of this episode valuable to you, we ask that you share with a friend, tag us with a highlight on Instagram, and write us a review so we can reach more people. Human design and astrology are tools to guide us toward our transformation. You are a unique and beautiful being, and we encourage you to let that light inside of you shine bright. See you in the next episode, friends.